March 13th carries a sense of movement that may feel very different from the reflective atmosphere of the past several days. Earlier in the week, much of the focus was on understanding patterns, reconsidering experiences, and allowing insights to form slowly through observation. Today begins shifting that internal process into action. Mars, the planet associated with drive, courage, and initiative, aligns with the North Node. The North Node represents the direction of growth in life, the path that encourages development beyond familiar habits and into new experiences that expand who we are becoming. When these two energies meet, actions often feel more meaningful than usual. You may notice a stronger impulse to address something that has been on your mind for a while. A decision that once felt distant may suddenly feel important to act on. Even small choices can carry a sense that they are shaping the direction of your future rather than simply filling time. In Pisces, this alignment takes on a more intuitive and emotional quality. Pisces is connected to empathy, imagination, and inner awareness. Instead of pushing forward through sheer determination, movement under this influence often comes from a feeling that something simply needs to change. The motivation may not be entirely logical, but it carries a sense of emotional truth. You may be drawn toward actions that align more closely with your deeper values or personal compassion. Situations that once felt tolerable may begin to feel misaligned if they no longer reflect who you are becoming. At the same time, Pisces energy can blur boundaries if awareness is not maintained. Acting purely on emotion without understanding the consequences may lead to confusion rather than progress. This is why today's energy invites conscious action rather than impulsive reaction. The opportunity lies in recognizing where your instincts and your long-term growth are pointing in the same direction. When those two forces align, even small actions can begin shifting the course of your life. The key psychological dynamic today is courage guided by intuition. You may not see the entire path ahead yet, but you may feel a strong sense of where the next step needs to go. And sometimes that first step is enough to begin changing everything that follows. Now, let's move deeper into the psychology behind this alignment. Mars represents the instinct to act. It governs how we assert ourselves, how we pursue what we want, and how we respond when something in our life requires movement or confrontation. Mars energy is not reflective by nature. It is directional. It pushes toward action, toward decision, toward the courage required to change circumstances. The North Node represents something very different. It symbolizes growth that pulls us beyond familiar patterns. It is often associated with the path of development that requires effort because it leads into territory we have not fully explored before. When Mars meets the North Node, instinct and evolution intersect. Psychologically, this can create moments where a person feels compelled to take action that aligns with their growth, even if that action feels unfamiliar or slightly uncomfortable. The impulse may not come from external pressure. Instead, it often arises internally as a feeling that remaining in the same pattern is no longer possible. This alignment can highlight situations where hesitation has been present for some time. You may have understood that something needed to change, but you may not have felt ready to act on that understanding. When Mars activates the North Node, that readiness begins to appear. The insight that developed earlier now seeks expression through movement. In Pisces, this process is guided more by intuition than by strict logic. Pisces is deeply connected to emotional awareness and compassion. Decisions made under this influence often rise from a sense that something is either aligned with your deeper values or no longer resonates with who you are becoming. You may feel drawn toward actions that create greater honesty within your life. That honesty may involve expressing something you have been holding back, adjusting a direction that no longer feels meaningful, or choosing to follow a path that reflects your genuine motivations rather than external expectations. However, Pisces energy can also blur certainty if emotions become overwhelming. Acting without reflection may lead to confusion rather than progress. This is why the balance between courage and awareness becomes essential today. The most powerful use of this energy occurs when instinct and understanding move together. When you act from clarity rather than from emotional pressure, your decisions begin supporting long-term growth rather than temporary relief. The deeper lesson of this alignment is that growth often requires participation. Understanding a pattern is important, but real transformation begins when action aligns with that understanding. Today encourages you to recognize where that alignment may be forming.
Now bring this influence down into everyday behavior, because the turning point created by Mars meeting the North Node often appears through small but meaningful decisions. You might notice that your tolerance for certain situations begins to change today. Something that once felt manageable may suddenly feel difficult to ignore. This does not necessarily mean the situation itself has changed. Instead, your awareness of it may have reached a point where continuing the same pattern no longer feels comfortable. This shift can show up as a stronger desire for honesty. You may feel more inclined to express something you have been thinking about quietly. A conversation that once felt easy to postpone may now feel necessary to address. The motivation is not always dramatic. Often it appears as a simple recognition that clarity would be healthier than silence. Another pattern that may appear today is renewed courage around personal decisions. You may feel drawn toward making a choice that supports your long-term direction rather than maintaining temporary comfort. Even small adjustments, such as changing a habit or addressing an unfinished task, may feel more significant because they represent movement toward alignment. Pisces energy adds emotional sensitivity to this process. You may find that your intuition becomes more noticeable today. Certain environments may feel supportive, while others may feel draining. Certain conversations may bring relief, while others may feel difficult to continue. These emotional signals can help guide decisions about where your energy truly belongs. At the same time, it is important to avoid reacting purely from emotional intensity. Mars can increase the desire to act quickly, while Pisces can heighten feelings. When these forces combine, the instinct to resolve situations immediately can become strong. Before taking action, pause long enough to confirm that your understanding is steady rather than temporary. Once clarity and intuition align, the next step often becomes obvious. The decisions that appear today do not need to be dramatic to be meaningful. Even small actions can shift your direction when they are aligned with genuine growth. What matters most is recognizing where your instincts are guiding you toward a path that feels more honest than the one you have been following. Now bring this influence into your own experience, sign by sign, not as prediction, but as awareness of where action may begin aligning with growth in your life. If you're an Aries, today may bring a strong sense that something in your personal direction needs movement. You may feel less willing to remain in situations that limit your growth. The opportunity lies in choosing action that reflects both courage and self-awareness. If you're a Taurus, deeper emotional insights may begin guiding your choices. Something you have been feeling internally may now influence how you respond to a situation in your outer life. Growth comes from trusting your intuition while remaining grounded in patience. If you're a Gemini, social environments and friendships may reveal where your energy truly belongs. You may recognize which connections support your direction and which ones feel out of alignment. Growth involves moving toward relationships that encourage your development. If you're a Cancer, professional or long-term goals may call for initiative. A decision related to your ambitions may feel more urgent today. Growth lies in acting in ways that support both your emotional stability and your long-term vision. If you're a Leo, your beliefs and perspectives may inspire a new sense of courage. You may feel ready to explore an opportunity or idea that once seemed distant. Growth involves following inspiration while remaining aware of the responsibilities that accompany it. If you're a Virgo, deeper emotional dynamics may require honesty. A situation involving trust, vulnerability, or shared responsibility may ask for direct action. Growth lies in approaching these matters with sincerity rather than avoidance.
If you're a Libra, partnerships may highlight where alignment or imbalance exists. You may feel a stronger desire for authenticity in your connections. Growth involves addressing relationship dynamics with both compassion and clarity. If you're a Scorpio, daily habits or work environments may begin shifting toward greater purpose. You may recognize that certain routines need adjustment to support your long-term direction. Growth involves taking small actions that improve your overall well-being. If you're a Sagittarius, creativity and passion may feel more active today. You may feel drawn toward experiences that allow you to express your authentic self. Growth involves pursuing those opportunities with intention rather than impulsiveness. If you're a Capricorn, emotional foundations or family matters may call for attention. A situation within your personal environment may encourage you to take responsibility for a meaningful change. Growth lies in creating stability that supports your future. If you're an Aquarius, communication becomes especially important. A conversation that influences your direction may arise today. Growth involves expressing your thoughts honestly while remaining open to understanding another perspective. And if you're a Pisces, this influence may feel particularly strong. You may experience a heightened sense that your actions are shaping your future direction. Growth involves choosing movements that reflect your true values rather than simply reacting to external pressures. As we close March 13, take a moment to notice how the past several days may have been preparing you for movement. Earlier in the week, much of the energy was focused on understanding. You may have reflected on relationships, reconsidered conversations, and explored the meaning behind certain emotional experiences. Those moments of reflection helped reveal patterns that might not have been obvious while everything was happening. Today introduces something different. When understanding becomes clear enough, it naturally begins asking for action. That action does not always appear dramatic. Sometimes it arrives as a simple decision to approach a situation differently. It might appear as the courage to express something honestly, or the willingness to move toward a direction that once felt uncertain. What matters most is the alignment between what you now understand and the choices you make next. You may notice that certain situations no longer feel neutral. Something may feel either more supportive of your growth or more clearly out of alignment with it. This awareness is not meant to create conflict. Instead, it helps guide your energy toward environments and decisions that reflect who you are becoming. Tonight, you might ask yourself a few quiet questions. What realization from the past week is asking me to act differently now? Where do my instincts feel aligned with my deeper values? And what small step could move me closer to the direction I know is right for me? These questions are not about forcing change. They are about recognizing that growth often begins with one honest action. The past week helped you understand where that action might be needed. Now the opportunity is to let your choices begin reflecting what you have learned. Because when instinct and awareness begin moving in the same direction, even a small step can start changing the path ahead.